What's up, folks, and welcome to this week's episode of the Pilot Review Show. I am Captain Blade J52, and I am joined by my usual band of merry screwballs. This week we have Neela, who is back with us again.
What about?
And we have Artie, our resident RP guy.
Yellow.
And then we have our teacher of the Kirby variety.
He saved the best for last, folks. How you doing?
Got a good bit of stuff to get through this week for you folks. Some exciting announcements that were just made in the past week or so. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Yeah,
First
lots
and
of them
foremost,
too.
the Zenkethi are coming, and we're getting a new enemy here with the announcement of Season 12 that'll be coming up. Here we have our first blog this week, which is our concept design and designing the Zenkethi type deal. You kind of see some of the stuff they got here, some of the basic concepts, weapons they've went with, system designs, this sort of thing. Anybody have any comments on this first bit of info?
You know, I've heard this comment a lot over the last week. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I'm not saying I quite see it, but a lot of people do. But they went an interesting way. I thought it was very cool.
All I have to say is though, the extra arms. I've seen enough hentai to know where it's going.
Oh God. No.
And we're going there already.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Personally, I like the new look. I'm surprised they didn't go with obviously with probably copyright of some of the book that they've been shown in, how they look there. So I like the new look compared to how it was supposed to look, apparently, by what some people told me. So it's really nice, new look, and the armor looks very fancy, honestly.
It does. I do like how the armor looks, but I'm not sure about the armor on the head from the captain. Yeah. The captain one, I gotta say it does... Oh no, it looks kind of strange to me.
That looks like a Mass Effect thingy.
Actually, it kind of reminded me of Halo a little bit, like the Jackals or something, or imagine of them in the Elite.
Okay.
I don't know.
Can definitely agree with some of that stuff. Yeah, it does. I'm not sure what I think about that commander headpiece, and I let y'all say that.
That captain, yeah.
Yeah, but definitely some interesting designs. Looking forward to fighting these guys on the ground, especially, because it looks like some of those cannons are going to pack a wallop, and you know the old saying, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, so I guess we'll see how that goes. But, moving along, we have our Designing the Zenkethi Starships. So in this blog, we actually get to see a bit of a first look at what some of the new ships are that we're actually going to be going up against. Perhaps, maybe, getting some ideas of what some of the new lockbox ships will be if they do a Zenkethi box. I have no idea, honestly, what they're going to do, so I guess we'll see how that goes. Anyway, we can kind of take a look at some of the beginning processes of it, some of the different ways they edited everything together, and it looks pretty interesting as far as the stuff goes. Shows really how much goes into everything. Any thoughts, anybody?
I always wonder where they're inspired for, you know, the ships that you don't see on screen in the movies and the series. So this would be one I'm curious where they get their inspiration from. But the big shell panels are interesting. Yeah, it's definitely very interesting to see it all broken down like this.
Yeah, it looks like all the ships are going to be kind of like a siege weapon. They sit in the back.
Can kind of see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
They look like
Yeah.
battleships, and they do have a couple. Well, they have a dreadnought. They do have
iOS, not case.
drones. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, funny enough, I've looked at I see some of the designs and all that. It actually kind of reminds me of when they were doing the Lakari ship, when they were doing the whole the contest of which ship design looks better, and I could see a little bit of the other designs in the Tenkesi ships here, just like a little bit, like the Frisbee, as some people called that one ship. I could see a little bit of that design in these new ships.
okay.
Hmm.
Can kind of see that, I guess. So, kind of scrolling a little slower for some of our
Maybe
folks on
in
the
the maybe in the aft portion of the dreadnought. Yeah, I can see some
Yeah.
of that.
The Zenkathi battleship, y'all. I know I'm gonna make some of y'all laugh with this, but if you know me, you know I'm a big alien conspiracy nut. Love me a good alien conspiracy theory, because even if they're not true, they're a decent conversation starter, I guess. And to me, the battleship actually looks like a gray battle cruiser. Is what it reminds me of with that teardrop shape.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're an alien conspiracy nut, you may know what I'm talking about. If not, well, you'll probably think I need to be locked up in the nut house. But we'll definitely have this in the notes for you guys. You can check this out and everything. Did you have something there, Neela?
Yeah, the dreadnought kind of looks like the Advent from Sins of the Solar Empire.
I could see that, yeah. Just in a darker tone instead of their whiter, gray kind of ships.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got me wanting to play Sins of the Solar Empire. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
That was great.
But yeah, I guess it kind of does look like that now that you mention that. I hadn't really thought about that. But yeah, we'll definitely have this stuff in the notes for you guys so you can check it out, kind of get an idea of what kind of ships you're going to be going up against, that sort of thing. But next big thing we have is the last chance for the Temporal Agent Pack special pricing. From Thursday, or this Thursday, until... Does it give the...
It said 2 days, but this was dated January 10th.
Okay, so
So it is back to the original pricing of $149.99.
So we're a little bit behind on
Which-
this one, folks, but
Yep.
hopefully y'all will forgive us and look over this. But anyway, if you're looking for the
But yeah.
special pack, this was definitely one to consider. I know I bought it, and I actually like the ships. Got some pretty good stuff with it, so I can't really complain. Any quick thoughts on this one before we move on?
It is definitely a great pack. It will give you a heck of a lot of ships for leveling up. Definitely well worth it if you're one that likes to create tunes, and gives you the 3 cross-faction 31st century ships as well as some, as I call them, Space Barbie things, 7 different uniforms from the original series, and for your captains and crew to wear. And that's not even all of it. There's more to it. But, yeah, it is definitely worth it. I am not sorry that I bought it. And, yeah, so look for specials on it. Look for ship pack specials or specials citing this pack again. And, or if you can afford the $149.99 or $150 price point, go for it.
Absolutely. But like Kirby's saying, you definitely get a lot with it. Not just the ships, but you do get some very nice odds and ends, a lot of Space Barbie stuff, and some overall fun gadgets and toys to play with in games. So if you can afford it, definitely something to look into. But
You do get,
go
like,
ahead.
for example, you get a few temporal agent qualification packs. Those are bound to character when you open them up, so make sure you know which character you want to claim it on.
Actually, that is not
things
entirely
like that.
correct. They were actually bound to account for me.
Oh, okay. I have to double check. I could have sworn mine were bound to character.
I don't know. They may have
I will
changed that.
double check.
For me, they were bound to account. That's
Okay.
my big thing. But anyway,
Still be careful when depending on which character you want it on. So
yeah,
there you go.
absolutely.
Yes.
So that's our public service announcement for that. But definitely something good to check out. But moving right along, we have our Season 12 announcement, Reckoning, which has finally been announced. We're going to be getting a new featured episode, some new space combat cues, and also a new Sinkethi battle zone. So, definitely some fun stuff coming down the line. And basically, you can kind of check out the announcement blog. This year as well, we'll also have the chance to finally earn the Tier 6 Lucari ship that we designed a while back, as well as the Omega stabilization will be coming back. It says in the form of a daily and patrol. So, kind of curious as to what they mean by daily and how they're going to be doing that. But,
it's the same way they've done it previously. So every time they've done it for the year, they've done it as a daily, but they left it open so that you could go and collect more if you wanted to. But the original mission is a daily. You talk to Q, you have to go to all three places, or to three places that he assigns. They're one of each color, and you collect them, and then you can go about your daily business. So if you do that, you'll get a few of the Omega marks. Now you have the option of collecting more Omega marks or Omega fragments of different colors and grinding those up and getting a whole bunch of the Omega upgrades.
okay.
So that's what they're talking about.
That makes sense. Now, the reason I had actually said that, I suppose I should probably give a little background on that. Whenever me and some of us were kind of sitting around bullcrapping on another chat server that I'm around from time to time, and we saw this and we read Omega Molecule Stabilization Daily, and we're like, wait a minute, did they nerf this? It just didn't click in our brains for some reason, so that's why I said I was kind of concerned about it and everything. But I'm glad to see if that's the case that they are doing it that way, because, well, let's just say I made a lot of bank from that, and, well, kind of like to do that again, you know? And plus I did use some to help my fleet out, so that's good stuff there.
Yeah.
But
I made a lot of bank from that as well. I ended up being able to make hundreds of the Omega tech upgrades from the amount of particles that I collected. So, very, very lucrative. That, of course, means you can get a lot of beams upgraded, which, if you're into selling beams, you can make a lot of EC that way.
absolutely. So, definitely a lot of good things on the horizon, whatnot. I believe maybe a couple of these articles, I think, touch on that a little bit more. But, anyways.
I do want to say, though,
Okay,
I want that outfit.
He would.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious as to what kind of a weapon that is. Myself, I have to admit.
Yeah.
Almost looks like she's getting ready to crack out an energy blade at any second, like a Halo energy sword or something. Or almost kind of like a lightsaber.
Oh, I thought that was a tricorder of some sort.
Is it a tricorder?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea.
Tricorder.
So,
I haven't seen much of their tech, so.
it could be. If anybody has any ideas what the heck that thing is, can you do us a solid and let us know? Just saying.
The thing that Kamarke's holding?
Yeah, what is that?
No idea, but the thing that's been getting a lot of chatter that I've seen is the ship right above it.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what we're thinking
has
it is,
been-
yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Now,
Oh, yeah.
There has been all kinds of speculation as to what
Oh, yeah.
that is.
we have some theories of our own as to what it could be here on the show, but we don't want to get into that too much because we don't want to give any potential misinformation and whatnot. That way you'd be like, well, these guys said it's going to be this, and then it turns out that it's not that, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're lying. We don't actually know what we're saying.
Well, I mean, that's a possibility, too. But,
Just a figment of the imagination.
we'll definitely have this in the notes for you guys so you can read the announcement for yourselves and everything. Definitely a lot of good stuff to come in the near future, especially with some of these events coming along. We're finally going to get to see more Lucari. We've got a new enemy to take on and a new battle zone. But, moving along.
Yes.
To our Zenkethi battle zone. Set up in the Gon Cross system at the far edges of explored space. So basically, if you haven't heard what's going on, they've set up a new Zenkethi battle zone that is going to be coming along. There was actually a playtest not too long ago. I think it was yesterday or the day before.
Yes, there's a playtest Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe,
So,
yeah.
You could actually... go ahead.
So a couple of my guys got in to actually play. I did not actually get in to play the zone. I was on TeamSpeak with them and did hear the comments they were making. I was patching Tribble and did not get in anyway before they shut it down. But the comments they were making currently, now it's not on holodeck yet, so don't freak out. They are going to be making changes. Currently, when you capture zone for our side, it falls back to the Zenkethi a bit too fast. Okay? So, what happens is you end up in a situation where you just can't capture it fast enough. It would if you had a lot of coordination, because you can get 20 people in there. There are 9 areas to capture. So what I heard was, or what I was told was, it would be possible for 2 or 3 man teams to capture a space or an area on their own. So you could, with the right coordination, capture everything simultaneously, but you would need that coordination, which with a pug group you're probably not going to get. With a random group of 20 people, you're probably not going to get that kind of coordination. So right now it's fairly difficult because of how quickly the zones fall back to Zenkethi control. They ended up, Cryptic ended up popping the bosses for every group that was in there because no group were able to get the bosses on their own, to get to the boss phase on their own.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
it was, from what I was hearing and what they were sharing with me, that was, yeah.
Definitely sounding like a couple of balancing tweaks are in the near future, but,
Yes.
anybody else
Not
have
to
some
mention
thoughts?
that, from what I've heard a little bit, and from some of the pictures that a friend of mine has shown me, some of the, I guess you could say, like, objectives in the battle zone are quite different from what we've seen in, like, the Undine battle zone and the Voth and stuff like that. There's, like, some missions that you have to, like, stay near an objective and push it towards something else, and it was really hard for him to explain it, and I wish I still had the pictures for you guys to see, but it seemed like how, since the Zenkethi were so strong, they would always beat everyone back at an objective, and as soon as you actually got the upper hand, like Kirby said, they would take it back so quickly. And since the objectives are still new and we don't know exactly how all of it works, it was very difficult to even get a grip of how any of it works. So I'm pretty sure they're going to not nerf, but probably modify a few things.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did see the feedback thread. There is a thread for feedback on it, so if you have participated in it, feel free to go and comment on that thread. But if you participated in the test, but I have seen, that's the one comment that I've seen, is that the zones fall back to the Zankathy too fast.
Okay.
That's been consistent in that thread.
Right.
So yeah, and keep in mind, folks, as well, like what we're talking about now, it is going to get balanced, it is going to get a lot of stuff fixed and everything. That's one of the purposes of the playtesting of the Tribble server, is to try to sort issues out like this. But,
Yes.
like I say, we'll definitely, if we hear more on this, we'll pass that information along to you guys and whatnot, but definitely looking forward to this myself, because I'm one of those weirdos that actually does prefer to farm battle zones in some cases versus doing the queues just because I'm weird. But
Nah.
anyways,
It's great when you have a mine layer.
No, it is.
it can be, I guess. Moving right along, we
Yeah.
have our console patch notes for the 10th. Doesn't look like too awful much here. Quick thoughts, Neela, our console guy.
Pretty much it was just all quality of life changes. Stop people from crashing when viewing a couple different system. Free holding name, message of the day. Can now view who last edited it. Not really too much, just quality of life.
Okay. But kind of what I'm seeing here, I guess. Some quality of life stuff. Definitely interesting. Hopefully they'll bring some similar materials like that over here. Or as far as reporting who does what, all that good stuff. But anyways, I suppose moving right along to our Dilithium weekend for the consoles. Whatnot, this actually started on the 12th and will be wrapping up at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Monday. So while the weekend is going on, you're getting 100% bonus dilithium ore for daily mining missions and all rich dilithium claims. Additional bonuses from your fleet dilithium mine of 100% and 50% bonus dilithium ore elsewhere in the game. Now this does exclude reputation projects and event reputation projects. It used to be that you benefited from that, but now sadly you do not. But even then, if you're looking to get up a supply of dilithium, now is definitely a good time to do it.
Yep.
So,
And
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
A little tip is the Dyson ground battle zone.
yes,
Yes.
definitely
Dyson
a great
Ground.
place. If you can get
Yeah,
at
Dyson
least,
Ground is an awesome place.
oh yeah, if you
Go
can
ahead.
get at least 2 of the dinos, that's usually around 3,000 ore just for the dinos. That's not counting the marks and the elite marks that you get, which you can cash in for even more. Typically in about, I'm going to say 10 to 15 minutes per battle zone, if it's moving really quick and everything, you can cap out a singular tune. So if you move really quick, you can cap out quite a few tunes. So definitely a good place to check out.
Yeah, like for
Yeah.
me, I 10-15 minute run the other day, I capped out my one tune at like 32K.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good, actually.
Yes, it is. Another thing you could do if you're level 60, you could do some of the elite PvE queues or STFs. Do they have Defend Reload Station Elite on the consoles there, Neela?
I'm pretty sure they do.
Okay.
Can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's there.
Yeah. That and Nukara Transdimensional Tactics Elite. Those two will earn you about 21k or 2,100 each. Somewhere around there. Because I know the normal is 1440, so take half of that and another 720. added on
Another,
there. Yeah.
another thing I do is defer.
Mm-hmm.
It
The
helps
Pharaoh will
with,
also net you a nice amount.
yeah, it helps with fleet marks and
Mm-hmm.
Yep, definitely
Yes,
some good
exactly.
places to go to. Definitely a few good things. Like I say, we will have this in the notes for you guys. You'll be able to see the announcement everywhere you get everything from. But moving on to our patch notes for the 12th for PC. Looks like a somewhat decent list. Pretty much some, what I'm seeing, quality of life issues, some bug fixes, everything. And one in particular that I'm actually seeing that I know annoyed a lot of people. The Chelbogue's Admiralty ship now displays the right message to chat on acquisition. So now it should say you're getting a Chelbogue instead of a Tier 6 Chelgret. So that's one minor thing there. And another thing they were supposed to have fixed is resolved an issue where the ship separating power would cause the part the player was not in to immediately disappear. Also included ships such as the shuttle spawned from the Vulcan Dakir. So definitely one that they've got fixed. Anything stand out for you guys in particular?
For me, resolved an issue where the refracting tetryon refract proc. So in other words, when you hit refracting tetryon cascade and it bounces off one ship into another, it's supposed to decrease. It was not decreasing its fall off correctly because of the long range targeting sensors. So what this says is, if you spec'd into long range targeting sensors, which most people who care about DPS did, then when you hit refracting tetryon cascade, the refraction or the bouncing was not decreasing like it's supposed to. So you were getting more DPS than you should have from the refracting tetryon cascade.
Okay.
Nice, huh?
What about you, Artie or Neela? Either of you got anything?
What I've seen is the continuity can no longer trigger while the player is in the resurrect state from Blaze of Glory. I find that I'm glad they fixed it because it was awesome that when you did Blaze of Glory, you got back up and you started fighting again. You would get you would not die again really, and then it just suddenly plops you out in the middle of nowhere sometimes. But it's random usually when I saw people having this problem. So I'm glad it's fixed, but it was funny more or less when I saw it happen. That was about it.
Mm-hmm.
Fun while it lasted.
And yes, there's another one I noticed, and this one is a big one. Resolved an issue where the invincible trait would fail to activate and then leave the player unkillable for longer than intended in some cases. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's one that was actually reported to me, and we did some testing with. Like I say, if y'all want to blame somebody, then you can blame me in this instance, because although, yeah, it's fun and everything, not intended, gotta report it, so yeah, I've got to be the dream killer in this instance. But
it was being wholly abused in some places in the game.
But
Yeah.
it was fun while it lasted, but it's something that definitely needed to get fixed.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Anything in particular that stands out to you, Neela, before we move on?
My thing was the resolved an issue where the trading in kits from before either kit revamp at the embassy and Spire were not rewarding kit modules and not available for some kits.
Can definitely see that being an issue. Overall, we'll have the full list of notes for you guys and the links for the show and everything, so you can check these things out for yourselves and whatnot. But moving along, we had the Hearts and Minds Returns. Now, this one ran until actually till tomorrow. So
it's still running.
yeah, it's still running at the moment. This is a mission that they bring back from time to time, usually around Friday the 13th or another date, something like this. So, I have to say,
Bring it back on the
interesting
13th of any Friday or Halloween.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
Friday the 13th. We had a Friday the 13th this week, which is why it was brought back. And then, of course, Halloween is the other time when they bring it back. Did they bring it up on consoles, Neela? It didn't mention it, so...
Nope.
Okay. That's what I thought. But yeah, this is a nice little spooky mission. It gives a duty officer, if you're running something like a Riemann character or something that has psionic abilities, Lethian, something like that, it might be an interesting duty officer because it does affect psionic abilities. But I don't know. I never found a use for it, for the duty officer. But it is a neat little mission. It is kind of cute.
It's definitely
Oh, yeah.
something that I have to say I was surprised the first time playing it through everything, but definitely if you're into ground officers, whatnot, I mean, it's the duty officer, it's interesting, something you can play around with. Like Kirby's saying, I don't know that I'm going to use it that much, but it's something nice to have. But, moving right along, we have a tweeted announcement. On Friday the 27th, one day after the launch of Season 12 Reckoning, we'll be having live-streamed interviews with STO devs on Facebook. So, they're going to be having some interviews with some of the devs. Definitely encourage you guys to tune in for that, because that's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Their
And
live
it
streams are-
actually gives you, it actually gives you the times for different devs, so you can tune in, schedule which one you want to hear. And they will be taking, and I do have confirmation of this, they will be taking questions. They may not take every question they get, but they will be taking some questions from the audience. So you might just get your question if you have one.
Most definitely.
So there you go.
So definitely encourage you guys to check this out and everything. The devs usually do try to answer as much as they can, but definitely encourage everybody to check this out. Probably going to be some fun stuff and questions to get answered. But moving along, we have the Fleet Special Holding unlocks. Here we have, I believe these are some of the cosmetic projects for the research lab on the console.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely some fun stuff there. Not really too much to say about this one. Definitely something to look into if you're the Space Barbie type and you want to pretty up your lab and your fleet. But
Yeah, have a flux
Yep.
capacitor for a podium.
yeah, pretty much. But
Yep, I always thought that was cute.
It seriously looks like a Star Trek version of a Metroid.
Oh, I see what you're going with, yeah.
you know what this actually reminds me of a little bit? That little thing in the case there. Anybody ever play the old Time Splitters games, Future Perfect, specifically?
Yes.
You know those little proximity mines, some little triangular things? Does that
Oh,
look
yeah.
exactly like
I
one of
gotcha.
those?
I can see that. I see it.
So yeah, definitely a fun little thing. Is it's going to add some stuff that no longer exists thanks to Crenum timeline alterations. So if you're looking for special dress up the fleet type of projects, this is definitely something to pick up. Now keep in mind as well, these special projects and everything, you only need to have them queued in order to be able to do them, even if you don't complete the project until long after they've taken away the ability to slot it. As long as you've had it slotted, you'll be able to play it.
Yes.
You'll be able to run the project.
Now wait. Are you telling me that Crenum went back and eliminated Marty McFly?
Oh, no.
That is blasphemy if they did.
But they
Blasphemy.
got a flux capacitor!
That explains why 2016 was so different.
I know, right?
Here's one for you. Maybe he got
What?
the original idea from the Crenum.
Or was it
Ah.
Doc Brown that they eliminated?
Ooh.
Did
That-
they
that- that's
eliminate
an
Doc
interesting
Brown?
one.
No! And
But-
Einstein? The dog? I always liked the dog. He was so cute.
Moving
Okay.
along, we have our
Moving
two new cues, which are Gravity Kills and the Zenkethi Front. In the Gravity
Yes.
Kills, the Zenkethi take their proto-matter to areas of distorted space, and this is where they're trying to build up weapons. Now, I know some of our
Yes.
folks have already played these missions, tested them out.
I
and everything.
have.
And,
I have played Gravity Kills.
Okay.
So, I was on a Fed when I played it, so they had the USS Jupiter in there. I'm gonna say, when you go past, when you spawn in, find either the IKS core or the USS Jupiter, target it, and pin it. So that it's always in yours, so you can always figure out where it is. Because you're going to have to know where that ship is when you come back. You're going to have to be able to find it, and it is not easy to find.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can get lost in it really quick. So that's my first tip with playing it. The other tip I have is don't shut off your engines. And know where you have put your evasive maneuvers. That black hole does pull. It will pull you in. You will not realize it until you're in the event horizon, and if you don't hit the button that comes up that says you're in the event horizon warp out, you will die.
Do not fall into the pit,
So-
or you will instantly
Yep,
burn and die.
exactly.
You've
It does pull.
Yeah. Question. When I know some people that have gravity well builds. Do they not? Do they work
Uh-huh.
as well in this, or or is it taken out due to
They
the
do
black hole?
work. No, they do work. That's fine. You can use them. The gravity well doesn't seem to affect the enemies. It may just be that I didn't notice it. But basically, it boils down to this. So you have to know where your ship is that you're protecting, or that your important ship, the core or the Jupiter, is. You have to know where that is. Okay? There's a Zenkethi base. They're doing their thing, okay? And there's a whole lot of Zenkethi enemies. Some of them are attacking your identified ship, your allied ship. What you have to do is you have to go in there to the base, which is, of course, by the black hole, right? And you have to find these things called Hawking particles. I'm assuming named after Stephen Hawking. You have to collect Hawking particles. Now, here's a word of warning. You cannot activate abilities while you are in the process of collecting a Hawking particle. It will stop the collection. Okay? So, you collect your Hawking particle, and then you have to haul ass back to your allied ship, either the core or the Jupiter, and drop off your Hawking particle. Okay? Now, the allied ship needs 10 Hawking particles before it can fire a big weapon that destroys the Zenkethi base. Now, you have to do this 3 times. You have to kill 3 Zenkethi bases, Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. Once you do that, a dreadnought wave flies in, and there you go. You kill off the dreadnought wave, and you're done. So, but yeah, the black hole will pull you in. You have to make sure you protect the core or the Jupiter, depending on your allegiance, and got to make sure you get those Hawking particles to your allied ship, because that's how it charges up the weapon that then destroys the base.
It's definitely some good preview advice
Yes.
and everything there. I know I was actually
So-
talking to Timberwolf a little bit earlier, and one of the things he noticed,
Yeah.
as far as the gravity wells, is whenever he noticed one getting fired, it actually seemed to buff the shields of the Zenkethi ships. So,
Yeah, because they're closer together.
yeah. He's saying that it may not be the
Yeah.
wisest to use a gravity well, although you can. You're probably going to want some shield
but yeah.
bypassing stuff in this case.
Yeah,
So the new
that's
shields are definitely
Yep.
tough, which he actually
They
reminded
are.
me in chat there.
But if you can find the front of the ship, their shields are weakest at the front of the ship. So if you can find the front, you're going to have a better time getting through there than anywhere else. So if you can do a frontal assault. Now I've been thinking about it in my experience with playing that queue. I could see going in with a team with 2 tanks, one for at the base and one for by the ship you have to go to, and having everybody else just run the particles back and forth. You could do it really quickly if your tanks are doing their job. You could do it very quickly that way, get the 3 bases out of the way, and then destroy the dreadnoughts.
Makes sense.
At least that's my idea. Now, granted, I haven't been able to try it with a coordinated team yet, but,
We'll get there. We'll get there.
that's the theory.
Yep.
So,
And keep in mind, folks, it'll take a little bit of time to learn the new cues for everybody and to learn some strategies that actually work for everybody out there, all the different fleets and everything that are going to take it on. But, our other one that we have for our queue is the Zenkethi front, where we have to beam the protomatter weapons back to the enemy bases, from what I've gathered. Has anybody taken that one out for a spin by chance?
I did not have a chance to, no.
From what I've heard, it's about as the same difficulty as the first one, but just no giant gravity well. I haven't really gotten much detail about it, but it seems like you're going to have to go in, fight a few enemies, get to the base, and either drop off the protomatter to destroy the base. I'm not too sure yet, so there's that.
Okay. I was wondering if y'all had played it and had another opinion. That's the other one I was talking with Timberwolf about. From what he's been able to see, is that you do beam the protomatter onto your ship, you carry it over to the base, similar to how you do in Days of Doom. Now, he and I were actually speculating that there may be some type of a debuff, similar to how there is in Days of Doom. It might be like a speed debuff, because he was telling me he saw a animation pop up and whatnot, so we don't know yet. It's possible they may have something and they might not. But definitely something that's going to be interesting to see when they finally release it. But
Yes, definitely is.
we'll have all this in the notes for you guys. You can check it out. Hopefully you're able to get on to Tribble and everything. Check it out before it gets launched.
Yes.
Maybe form some ideas. Who knows? But moving right along.
Yeah, if you do have access to Tribble, which is where these are, bring your friends, go in, try it out, see what you think. If you have issues with it, go to the forums, the Tribble test forums, and let them know.
Yes, because
So that they can,
They do
yeah.
read. They do read them. They do read the feedback. But moving right along, we have for this week an interesting challenge taken by our own TeacherKirby, a 5 million
Yes.
EC budget build, and it looks like she's taking the
Yes.
Chelbogue for this challenge. Take it
Yes,
away,
I
Teacher.
have. All right, so the 5 million EC challenge works like this. So you cannot use anything that you cannot get at level 50. Okay? So this is a fresh 50 build. You cannot use any ship traits. You cannot use any rep traits. You cannot use any active reputation traits. So, and you cannot use any specializations. Okay? So all of this was taken off of this ship, and if you actually look under the skills, you'll see that I've set the reputation so it's commando in the for the secondary, and there's nothing on primary. But yeah, so If you look at the starship, so obviously it's the gel bulk. So I used the plasma disruptor hybrid beams that you get from running either as a KDF, which I built this on, you get from running second star to the right straight on till morning, or as a fed, you get it from running past imperfect. So I got 8 of those. And then I got, of course, the Breen set. And I got the Breen set because I'm going to want something to help me manage my power, because I am not running a plasmonic leech. Yeah, okay. And then I did get a warp core. I spent some EC on this. This was probably the highest EC item that I bought. And if you look at this warp core, it is a plasma integrated warp core. It does boost my EPS, or my power transfer rate. But it does transfer a little aux power to my weapons, or gives me a bonus based on what my aux power is. It does give me a weapons capacitor that I can hit at will, so that gives me a plus 15 to my weapons every time I hit that weapons capacitor. And this was bought at Mark 10, very rare. And then I have, okay, so I have the subspace field modulator, which you get from running skirmish. And then I have, for feds, for the 2 RCS consoles that I put in there, Federation, the 2 Mark 11 blues, the Federation characters are going to have to buy it with EC. That cost was calculated. If you look in the notes, that cost was calculated into the total cost. The KDF characters can find it by running, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to look at the notes. Blood of the Empire. I'll have to run that twice. Okay. And then I bought a conductive RCS console with plasma. This gives me an extra resistance to plasma. You could get a Resol if you choose to. And then I got a engineering console EPS flow regulator. Good God, couldn't speak for a second there. Thanks, meds. Alright. And then for my science, I put 3 flow capacitors. This will increase my drain for that lovely Breen 3-piece there. And then I have 4 of the tactical consoles, the directed energy consoles that Darkblade told us about last time from the mission Terminal Expanse. So I did purchase the science consoles, and I did purchase the EPS flow regulator, as well as the conductive RCS. Alright, so if we look at the bridge officer stations, so I did have attack pattern Omega 3. I've set this up as a cheap old meta DPS build. So I did use the Lieutenant Commander Universal. I used that as a tactical. So for the Commander Tactical and Lieutenant Commander Tactical, they're going to play off each other. So most of these skills are going to be doubled, because you don't have any other way of cooling them down. And this way you're going to have 3 attack patterns in here, so that you always have an attack pattern available with your fire at will. So this is a good way to do DPS. So I have attack pattern Omega 3, and then I have 2 copies of attack pattern Beta 1 to pair with that. And that pairs very nicely. And then I have fire at will 3, I have 2 copies of that. And then of course I have TAC Team 1 to help me with my automated shield rerouting. And then I have for my Ensign Universal, I put that as an engineering, and I put engineering team 1 there. For the Lieutenant Engineering, I put emergency power to weapons 1 and 2 to help with my weapons power, and this does give an overall damage buff as well. For the science, the STO Academy still lists this as temporal operative. It is actually intelligence. So the lieutenant commander skill, as noted in the notes, is override subsystem safeties 3, and then I have hazard emitters 2 and science team 1 for the shield heal. And if you look at the duty officers, I actually have none listed. There are none on this build. Now, if we look at the skills, the skill tree, so I put, for the skills, I did a science ultimate build because knowing that I wasn't going to have any of the reputation traits, I knew I was going to have to do something to deal with my crit chance. Granted, the tactical team or the tactical tree is going to help a little, but I knew I was going to want to do something to do with my crit chance, and to be honest, it is hard to go wrong with science. It is very flexible. You can spec into science all the way and be able to easily change up your build later without having any real difficulty at all. So I did put 26 points into science. The only things I didn't choose were the control, the third one in control.
Amplification.
Amplification, thank you.
Words
My
hard.
brain was just not working with it, yep. And then I didn't choose any of the shield mastery items. So those were the only things I did not choose in science. For engineering, the only things I did choose were things that had to do with power. So I chose the EPS for the power transfer rate. I chose the defensive subsystem tuning and offensive subsystem tuning. And I chose power in both aux and weapons. And then I chose the warp core potential and the warp core efficiency in engineering. And then my other points, I put 3 into energy weapon training. I put 3 into weapon amplification and 3 into weapon specialization. And then I put 3 into hull penetration. So that'll help me to hit a little harder. And the amplification and specialization will give me extra crit chance and crit severity. And so if I look at my overall traits, my personal traits, so everything in here is free or captain specific. So Grace Under Fire is captain specific. You can put in your captain specific one. I'm an engineer in this case. And I have techie, beam training. Notice I don't have any from the crafting schools. And then I have bulkhead technician, fleet coordinator, thrill seeker, innocuous, shield technician, and operative to help with that crit chance again. And so I have taken this out for quite a few spins, and because that's the other part of the challenge, is to get it up to 15k. So I have taken it out for quite a few spins, and I have had an ISA as low as, or as long as 12 minutes, and still managed to break 10k with it. That was a hard fought 10k because I died 7 times. And I have actually gotten it as high as 22k. Again, a pug. I just got lucky there with a very good team. But most of my averages are about between 12 and 15. So not a bad build. On the cheap, the actual total for everything I purchased was 2,606,600.
Nice.
So, yes, very nice. So this leaves anybody wanting to replicate this. If they saved up 5 million, you've got some room to work with. You can tweak it out, add a few things, soup it up, whatever you wish with that.
Okay.
Comments?
Now I gotta ask.
Yes.
I know the challenge is to use the how much EC and all that, and then all the free stuff that you can get.
Mm-hmm.
And then you decide to go with the Breen set. Why did you not go with the Warp
Yes.
Core? With the Breen Warp Core
Well-
from the winter event.
The idea being that the winter event is only open once per year. And so I didn't want to limit it to something that's only open once per year. If you make the tune after the winter event, or you started playing after the winter event, you weren't able to open the store, you're kind of screwed then.
That makes sense. Okay, I
Yeah.
get you now.
Fair enough.
So fair enough. So I didn't want to have to rely on, on the winter event core. Now you could say, well, it's a chill bulk. Yes, it is, but you are able to adapt this with a few, with the minor tweaks. You could adapt this to something with a similar bridge officer layout. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's not that difficult to adapt to other ships that you would have available if you needed to.
That's the big thing to definitely keep in mind. The budget builds that we give, you can replicate it exactly the way we have it if you want to, but by no means is it required
Yes.
that you do it. What we do for our
Right.
budget builds is we give them mainly to give you guys ideas, to give you templates, saying, hey, if you're looking to build this ship, such as the Chill Bogue, here's one example you can do for very, very cheap, and something that's very easy to do.
Right. And yeah, I mean, nothing on this has been upgraded at all. If you look, everything's Mark 11. This is exactly how I've been flying it. Since I made this, I actually finished it 2 days ago. Yeah. I actually finished it 3 days ago. And I have not upgraded anything on here. This is all the the rarity and mark that I bought it at, or picked it up at. So, you'd be surprised how cheap conductive RCS with things other than EPS are at ultra rare on the exchange.
Most definitely.
Yeah, it's surprising when you look at it. Yeah, I did 3 RCS consoles because turn rate cannot be pretty on this thing sometimes. And
Most definitely.
especially when you're doing cheap DPS, you want to be able to turn very quickly because you might need to keep it moving to stay alive. And you're going to want to make sure you can keep things in target as well. So
Seems like a pretty
That
good
makes
build,
sense.
turn rate can be important.
everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But suppose we should be moving right along. Everything. Couple of decent little ones I've got for y'all this week, as far as the bug corner goes. Now, I know some of you have had issues getting stuck on the patching screen. I know I myself have had this issue and everything. But one of the things that one of the other bug hunters had actually posed everything to do was to make sure your on-demand patching is not selected and make sure that Force Verify is selected. Now, the big thing with on-demand patching is that it essentially, like it says, allows you to patch things on the go. It allows you to not have to patch so much of it up front. So if I go into an ISA, as a hypothetical, then I'm able to patch just the files that are needed for that mission. I don't have to patch everything else. By turning off on-demand patching, you're making sure you have everything updated up front, you have all the data there, and the Force Verify is going to make sure of that as well. So that's one possible workaround you guys might have. I can say this without breaking NDA, is that I did submit a report to them with a couple of trace certs and everything that I found along the way that could potentially help them. I don't know if it'll be of use, but it's something that could potentially help the devs narrow down what's going on. But another big one we have is some people are reporting that the game is still crashing when deleting the emails. Now, I have heard conflicting reports on this. Some people are having it, some people are not. So, please...
I'm some people.
She would. She enjoys giving me paperwork.
You don't count.
They all do.
I gave you that paperwork, Chris. I did.
She did. To her credit, she did. She just likes to give me a little bit of grief at the same time.
I did.
Don't worry, I always get her
gave him
back.
Details.
She did.
I even gave him details, so they might be able to narrow in on
most
what's
definitely,
going on.
Folks. In all seriousness, though, if you are still having issues, please speak up. Say something in the forums. They do actually read the forums, and that's actually where most of our reports come from as bug hunters, is from what you guys turn in. We read the reports that you guys have put up. We try to see if we can reproduce it. Then, if we can, we send something on to the devs as far as a note goes, so they can hopefully test it, recreate it, and get it fixed for you guys.
Another one, though, that I just saw, I don't know if it's known about it yet, but I have my frigates over there on recall. They're not in my ship.
That one I'm not sure about, in all honesty. It could just be the location we're at, but I have no idea.
I've had it happen before, where I've had them on recall, like in ISA or something, and they just fly behind me.
So yeah, definitely something to look into. But another person talking about the patching stalling. If I could get my browser to cooperate for me. But some people are reporting it crashes at specific points where it stalls out. If that is the case, then try to, if you're getting an error, if it's stalling out at one specific spot, please, like I said, speak up, let them know, say, hey, this is what I've done, this is what I've done to try to clear it, this is what happened. Because the devs do read the forums, the bug hunters do read the forums as well, although we're probably not going to be as much help to you as a dev. We can definitely make sure that they know by passing on a report to them. As always, for our console players as well, if you guys are having issues, please come onto the forums, pop into one of them, just say, hey, this is what's happening and everything. Feel free to use the PC forums, because I don't think they have one for you guys yet specifically. So just pop in and say, hey, this is what's going on, say PS4, and then whatever you're having for a bug, or Xbox One, and then whatever your bug is. That way they know. But,
yes, in fact, one of my viewers for my YouTube channel actually did exactly that. He came to me with a bug that he saw, and he ended up posting it on the forums. He was very detailed as to what's going on, and hopefully it'll get fixed.
Most definitely. And like I say, guys, feel free, if you see one of us in game or something, feel free to hit one of us up, and one of those guys could pass it along to me. You can drop me an in-game note if you know my @tag and everything. Just like I say, feel free, let us know. We'll make sure it gets tested. We'll make sure it gets passed on to them and everything. We may not be able to guarantee a fix right away, but we can at least make sure that they're aware. But that's pretty much all I've got as far as bugs go for this week. Moving right along for the Teacher's Corner, it looks like we have changing default key assignments. Take it away, teacher.
Yes. So this actually came from a viewer who has been extremely frustrated as a lot of people have been with the streaming thing. the Yeah, Cryptic just integrated a streaming feature that you can start in your client, and some people, and I don't know why it's not showing up in mine, but some people are having this issues where every time they push a certain key combination, the streaming window comes up and it tries to start a stream. Well, I found out a couple things. One, that combination is Shift S. So if that's happening to you, that's the combination that's doing it. So stop pushing that. But we did find out that the way to change that is to go into your default key assignments. And I'm being very careful not to say keybinds, because that's another thing that people have. That's a whole nother thing. So this is the default key assignments that Cryptic puts on your keys for things like walking, turning, jumping, when you're in space, firing all weapons, things like that. Okay? So you can actually go in and change them to a preferred thing. So if you can find, and I actually couldn't, but I haven't been having this issue, but if you're having this issue and can find the start streaming thing, you can change that from Shift S to something else. So there you go. But like I said, I wasn't able to find it. I looked all over everything. I could not find the start streaming button anywhere on any character. And believe me, it ain't no picnic searching 15 characters.
I can imagine. I've had to search a few things myself.
Only 15?
Yes. What was that?
Only 15?
Only 15, yes, only 15.
Oh, Lord.
I know, I'm not as bad as some. We know a guy that has over 50 characters, so...
I'm almost
Yeah.
there. I'm at 30.
Yeah.
And I thought I had too much free time on my hands.
That's an understatement.
Who said free time?
Anyways,
What time was that?
coming up on our final segment for the show, we have the RP Corner with Artie. What do you got for us, dude?
Okay, well, there has been not really a new rave in the RP community. It's been popping up now and then as an oddball event type thing that I've seen a few times. It's known as roleplay, player versus player. It basically is you have whatever character you're running, whatever story they're going with. Sometimes the game master that runs that event decides to take things up a notch, having an actual villain character built out in a certain way, and actually asking a few friend players to dress up as some goons so you can guys fight out on a PvP map. Because sometimes the NPCs that you have on Foundry missions are just too unpredictable, and they don't really respawn when you need them to. So the idea for it was that, say you have a fight club on your starship, and everyone wants to show their talents. Well, what better way to do that than using our shoddy random dice system? No, I'm kidding. Use the have your whatever group you're having go into a PvP match, and you guys say what you're going to do, and then you duke it out. Let your like lunge and your other kits and your weapons, whatever you use for that mission, decide it. It makes things simpler, and depending on how everything rolls out, depending on what the event is, what your mission is, and all that, it really makes things more visual than anything else. Some people have tried to do a similar thing with role play, player versus environment, meaning that they use the RP maps of the Foundry and try to use that. it works in the same effect, but it has much more of a, you have to worry about maybe that one bug of a NPC decides not to do the thing and actually kills the entire team out of nowhere for no reason. Maybe you run into a part where everyone suddenly spawns on like 5 different maps. Who knows? So the Foundry is sometimes a little iffy depending on the day, but it's still good. Depending on how you want it, it works. And then you always have your classic role playing on a bridge. You have to imagine everything. You type it out and hope for the best. That's still a good way of going back to. So
hope to God you don't put it in Flick chat.
Oh yeah, watch out for those mistells.
Yep.
Yeah. The problem with always going to a bridge for just having to type it out is sometimes your game master that runs the event wants to use the emote roll dice, and most times those dice are not nice. That was not meaning the rhyme with that, but most times the dice are less than friendly. But some GMs go, yeah, if you roll low, you get a good thing. Sometimes you roll high, you get a good thing. Most times it's always the opposite. Yeah, roll a 1, it's a critical hit. You do whatever you're going to do, and you roll a 100. Okay, some guys go,
Yep.
yeah, you roll a 100, you do whatever, like you see in Dungeons and Dragons or something, and every time you're rolling in the single digits for no reason. There's 100 numbers there. You would hope you would pick something better, but it's always back to role playing PvP. It's been very interesting from what I've seen. My personal experience has been like, as my example, Fight Club. Sometimes a young officer wants to challenge their commanding officer to a duel. Well, pull out your swords, cut off your shields and your body armor, and duke it out. And hope for the best, really. Maybe someone sweeps up for a leg and actually trips another player. Who knows? Other times it's sometimes like if you have like an actual good amount of players, have 20 on one side, 20 on the other, and all those 20 player characters are in teams against whatever the game master of that event is doing on the other team. So it's a very interesting concept, and it's very hard to see sometimes when they get into big fights on PvP maps. But when you see one, it's very interesting. It's like watching a football game. You never know what's going to happen, but then someone always ends up with a bloody nose.
Well,
either way, yeah.
Sounds like a pretty good thing. Definitely not something I really would have thought would have been a big thing. But then again, you learn something new every day. And if it works, I say roll with it. But anyway, that's pretty much what we've got this week for you guys. Everything. I know we covered quite a bit as far as our news articles, everything goes. We'll have everything up in the notes for you guys so you can check everything out. Hopefully get pumped up for the new season coming along, the new enemy race. Definitely encourage you guys to check that out on Tribble, whatnot. So definitely a lot of good stuff to look forward to in this coming year, especially the Lucari ship that I finally want to get my hands on because, alien conspiracy ship. But anyway, folks, that's what we've got for this week. Hope you've enjoyed the show, found the information of use. We'll have everything in the notes for you guys so you can check it out. But this is the Pilot Review Show, and we're signing off.
Have a good night.
Night.
See ya.